Hello and welcome. I felt compelled to make this quick video just because earlier today Henry Cavill posted a little tease for us Witcher fans on his official Instagram account where he showed early footage of himself in character as Geralt in the upcoming Netflix Witcher adaptation that he's going to star in. And so yeah, I thought I'd just take a look with you guys and see what we can see and what we think about it all. Before we jump in, I think it's very important to remember that this is almost certainly test footage. This, is not by any means the final version of the look that Cavill will have as Geralt in, when the show actually airs. This to me looks like, test footage where they're trying out different looks, different costumes and outfits. And sure, maybe it looks pretty similar to what we'll get, but, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some tweaking before the show actually launches. So first of all, the thing that really stood out to me was that it appears they're going with a slightly younger Geralt than the one we're used to in, say, The Witcher 3. Henry Cavill, he is a bit younger, and I kind of thought maybe they'd, add makeup and stuff, give him some scars and wrinkles to, age him up and make him look a bit more grizzled. But from this footage, it appears we're seeing a younger Geralt here. If you notice, there's no scars or wrinkles. He looks quite fresh-faced and kind of fresh out of, the School of the Wolf or whatever. And, that's interesting. That suggests that maybe we'll see, a show that will follow Geralt from, his earlier days and then maybe end with him being, the Geralt that we know from the books and the games. It's hard to say. But, yeah, he definitely looks a bit more fresh-faced than the Geralt we're used to. Following on from that, I noticed that there's no wolf medallion. These medallions the witches wear, and the animal head changes depending on what school they went to. So the school of the cat witches wear like a cat's head medallion, and obviously Geralt is the school of the wolf. He has a wolf's one, and we can't see this on Cavill. So again, that suggests that maybe we're going to be seeing him maybe even before he's a full-fledged Witcher. Who knows? Or maybe they just haven't got to that prop yet. I mean, it's perfectly possible. But yeah, I thought it was interesting, the first time I've seen Geralt without his famous medallion. Again, as I said, he looks quite fresh-faced in this, and he doesn't have the large scars on his face that we're used to seeing from the games, and I think I mentioned in the books. And yeah, again, that suggests maybe we're seeing a younger Geralt, but no doubt, if the show has a few seasons as it progresses, we will see Cavill's Witcher get more beat up as it goes along. Maybe we'll find out in the show how he got the large scar across his eye. I feel like it's a good opportunity for them to evolve the character and for us to watch as he gets more grizzled, more cynical, more rugged, and picks up more scars and bruises along the way. In both the books and the games, it's noted and shown that Geralt has very distinct eyes. They're kind of like cat's eyes. They're very like haunting and piercing eyes. It's usually the first thing people notice about him. And I feel like if you look carefully, you can see maybe he does have contacts in. I'm not that familiar with Henry Cavill's eyes, as they are usually, but they do look slightly altered in some way. But to me, based on this footage, they're not quite as piercing as the books and games make out. Although at the same time, it's one thing for a book or a game to say someone has very distinct eyes, but sometimes it can just look weird when it comes to actually showing it on film. For instance, in the Game of Thrones books, Daenerys is meant to have purple eyes, and in the show she just has regular eyes because I believe they tried it and it just looked really distracting and weird. So maybe they're going to change that with Cavill. Maybe they just haven't done that with this. We can't say yet. Geralt is also clean shaven here, and a lot of people are used to Geralt having a beard because in the Witcher 3 game there was the feature where your beard would grow in real time, so you could be clean shaven, but after a few days it would start to return. And a lot of people, myself included, like to have a bearded Geralt. But in the books, actually, he is clean shaven, and I haven't read all the books, but apparently at one point he does say he prefers to be clean shaven. So again, this isn't an adaptation of the games. This is, I guess, more an adaptation of the books, though I'm sure it will borrow some stuff from the games. So, it's not going to be exactly alike. So yeah, we got a clean shaven Geralt again. You know, if this is his early days, maybe we're seeing him start out on his adventures, then he might well grow a beard. I just hope it's not a CGI one. Sorry, Henry. You know, I mean, I would like to see a more grizzled Geralt with a, you know, a nice beard and stuff, but maybe that's coming. Who knows? The only thing that really I'm not totally sold on with this is the hair. Again, you know, this could just be test footage, so I don't want to slam it too much or anything. But it just looks a bit off to me. Obviously, it's got to be white because Geralt has like white hair. But first of all, it looks a bit too kind of wiggish to me. Like you can tell it is a wig, and it looks kind of too shiny and like well kept and stuff. You know, Geralt is a guy who roams the lands. You know, he doesn't get to take care of his hair; he just ties it back. And you know, this looks just a bit too much for me, a bit too cared for, a bit too shampooed. But again, you know, as I say, this could just be him starting out. This is just test footage. Maybe they haven't even done the hair as much as they're going to. So, you know, it's very early to tell, you know, and say that it's bad or anything. I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not as good as I would like it. I also think it's a bit long. You know, in the games, he just kind of has it down to his shoulders tied back. But here it's really quite flowing, you know, it's down to his nips. And I don't know, just for someone who fights that much and stuff, it doesn't seem like having long flowing hair is really a good idea. You know, even when it's tied back like that, it's not doing much good. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the hair changed a bit, but you know, it's not terrible. But I hope they put more attention to it than they have here. In terms of physique, I think Cavill is perfect as Geralt. You know, Geralt was tall, quite well built, and Cavill's the same. You know, as he walks towards the camera now, I totally believe he could mess me up. You know, he looks like a Witcher. He looks tough. He looks intimidating. I totally buy him as that. And yeah, I think Cavill's nailed that. I mean, the guy plays Superman for God's sake. Like, if anyone has the physique for, you know, playing a kind of warrior, then it's Henry Cavill. I noticed the armor. As far as I can tell, it doesn't really look like a specific type of armor. I mean, you know, who's to say that they'll use armor designs for the game or anything? But it looks quite basic, like a kind of leather jerkin. But I hope we get to see, like, you know, the School of the Wolf armor and stuff like that. I would love to see them do the armor from the games, because some of those just look so great. But obviously, you know, they might not be allowed to do that because this is a separate thing. And then last but not least, the short clip ends with him taking a swig from one of his tonic bottles. And, you know, that's an important part of being a Witcher. Geralt, you know, he may be great with a sword, he may have some magic abilities, but much of his success owes to the fact that he takes his time, he prepares, and, you know, he brews these tonics to enhance his abilities, to let him see in the dark, or to boost his strength for a short time. And, you know, I like that we got to see that nod there. And, you know, obviously there's the idea that he can't take too many, otherwise he'll overdose. We see that in the game. And yeah, so I'm glad it looks like that's going to be a thing. He's not just going to be like some kind of superhuman badass who doesn't need to prep and stuff. Kind of like Batman, you know, he's badass, but he needs to, you know, scope things out and sort things out before he takes down an enemy. And so I like that. It shows that they're not just going to have him kicking ass all the time. You know, he will still be vulnerable. So overall, I am pretty happy with the way he looks. You know, as I say, physique-wise, and I think the face and stuff looks really good. I think add a few scars, a bit of dirt and grime, and he'll look perfect, really. And again, I'm interested to see if this is going to be a younger Geralt, you know, and he'll age and get messed up over the course of the show. You know, physique-wise, he looks really intimidating. I like the armor. I quite like the eyes. I wouldn't want them to be too distracting, to be honest. Wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a beard, but maybe we will, you know. I mean, maybe he'll shave when he's in civilization, but, you know, if there are episodes set out in the wild, he'll start getting a bit of stubble on him. I'd like to see how he gets the big scar, and obviously his medallion. Surely that will be in the show. The only thing, as I say, I'm not hugely sold on is the hair. I would like a bit more attention put on that. But, you know, it's not a deal breaker or anything. And as I say, as I've said so many times, this is just test footage. I don't think this is like the final version they're going with. I'm sure there will be some differences come the show's airing. But yeah, overall, pretty good. I'm impressed. I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to read the rest of the books. And let me know what you think. Are you impressed? Do you really like it? Do you hate it? Why? Why not? Let me know down in the comments. Please share this video with your friends. Leave a like. And if you're new here, then feel free to subscribe. I put out at least 2 videos a week and cover everything from video games to films to books. See you next time.